Okay, I have to refilm the beginning of this video because I don't know what happened the first half. But anyway, so this is going to be my first video. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Shelby. I'm gonna do the end of the year tag. So for 2023, I got this idea from Disney Sidwell. I'll use her the questions that she had in that video, and I'm gonna link her video in the description so you can watch it too. And I think Sarah Caroli also did this. But basically, I feel like this will help get an introduction into what kind of books I like to read, what kind of books I don't like to read. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first question is the most disappointing book of the year, and for me, I have two. So the first one is Jennifer Lynn Barnes' The Brothers Hawthorne. I love the Inheritance games, and I love the brothers. I thought this was going to be, I know that the trilogy is finished, so this is more like a spin-off, just extra book, and I thought it was going to be more focused. I don't know what I thought, but I thought that it would have like all the brothers, you know, perspectives, but it only goes back and forth between two storylines between Grayson and Jameson, and they didn't really connect at all. They're just on their own little adventure separately, and they don't like, yeah, they come together at the end, but it's not like connected. And I felt like I was just so like going back and forth was like too much, and I was like, I'm not following either plot line, and I'm not interested. So it was okay. I'm really excited. It did set it up for the last book. I think it's gonna be The Grandest Game. So I'm excited for that one. Hopefully I like it better than this one, but I just feel like this was a little disappointing. And then the other one was Ali Hazelwood's young adult debut novel, and Check and Mate. First of all, I don't think this should be classified as young adult. I think it's got topics that aren't really young adult topics. Also, it's not very romance based. I feel like it focuses more on the chess, which is fine, but I feel like I didn't like either of the main characters, like the girl with the guy. I didn't see the connection. Wasn't really rooting for them. And then next is a book that surprised you, and for me that was Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I usually don't read books like this. It's a gothic fantasy, and it's got Edgar Allan Poe and Dracula vibes, and to be honest, I don't read it a lot, but when I do, I really enjoy it. I feel like sometimes they're hard for me to get into, but if I can get into it, I'm gonna love it. And this is amazing. I liked the other plot lines of it. Like, I love the darkness in it and the gothic vibes. I love the house. I love the characters. I just feel like it was so interesting, and like the history of the house and like the fantasy elements. This is so good. I didn't have tabs with me when I read it the first time because I was out of town, so I really want to reread it and like go in and annotate it because the writing in here is actually really beautiful. Love it. Okay, next question is my favorite book couples of the year, and for me, that is Iris and Kit from Divine Rivals. They are amazing. I love them so much. From the beginning. I mean, Kit goes and travels 600 kilometers to the front lines of this war that they're in just to be with her. Do I need to say more? Amazing. I love this series. I'm so sad that it's over, but this will always be like, these are like 6-star reads. So good. I'm also going to mention Magnolia and BJ. I didn't bring it over here from my bookshelf, but you know, Magnolia Parks, I love them so much. And then my favorite main characters of the year, obviously, Iris and Kit. Again, I love them. But I also want to mention Legend from Caraval. I feel like this is another unpopular opinion that most people don't like Caraval as much as Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I love Once Upon a Broken Heart. Don't get me wrong, I love Jax. I love him. But he's also in this series, like in the second one. I just love the vibes of this series. The first one's kind of hard to get into, but the second one, Legendary, is where it pops off, in my opinion. And I love the character Legend. He's not much in this book. He's more, you get more of him. Hey! More of him in the second book with Donatella, and all the way to the third book, I was so stressed and just, I love the tension. I loved the not knowing. It was amazing. Had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. New favorite author I discovered? Abby Jimenez. I love her books. They are so easy to get into. The characters always have like very relatable, I don't want to say problems, but like all of her characters are relatable. Like this one, the main guy has anxiety and shows how he has to deal with it, and I'm like, I feel like I never see that in a main male character, and I loved it. Love being seen, you know? I just love her characters. I love her writing. They're amazing. What is the happiest book you read this year? And I think it's gonna be Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I feel like a lot of her books are happy because they have that rom-com vibe to them. Yeah, this book is amazing. I'm ready for the second one. I don't know when it comes out. Later this year maybe. But I feel like the rom-com vibes are just happy, and because it's young adult, it's not too like there's not too much, you know, breaking up or sadness or, you know, makes you want to cry your eyes out, but obviously it's still there, you know. It's sweet, funny, there's romance, got rom-coms, and her covers have like, you know, The Notebook, Bridget Jones, Harry and Sally, everything. The most frustrating book I read this year is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. First of all, look at this cover. It's beautiful. And that really disappoints me because I did not like this book. I feel like I did give it 4 stars. I think it was just I would probably change it to 3. But the characters, it's these type of books where they're like grown adults that live in New York, you know, struggling to pay rent or find jobs, finding it hard to date or find, you know, partners. It's like that type of book, and these two characters keep meeting each other and like they're like, oh, I hate you, and they both have problems and just continuously do things on purpose to hurt the other one and just won't be together. I don't know what it is about these books, and they always take place in New York. I found like Cleopatra and Frankenstein is another one that I was going to mention. I can't find it on my bookshelf, but that's another one that frustrated me, where it takes place in New York. The two characters shouldn't be together, but they want to, and they just do things to hurt each other on purpose, and I just don't get it. I can't root for either of them. But this cover is beautiful, so like what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. The next question is the best book adaptation of the year, and that is, hands down, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. I read this book at the beginning of last year, and it was so good. It's when I read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid, like the Celebrity or Hollywood. I don't know what the series is called, but you know, Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, and Carrie Seto's Back. But this, I love the songs. I have the album on vinyl. I listen to the songs all the time. They are amazing. I can't believe that this show turned out as good as it does, because sometimes, you know, TV adaptations or movie adaptations of a book can go very wrong, and especially it's really frustrating and scary, like when it's one of your favorite books. But I think I have no complaints about that show at all. Even the things that they changed, I have no complaints. It's amazing. Perfectly cast. It's amazing. I can't say enough. And then the longest book I read this year, technically, oh shoot, I got the wrong one. Technically, hang on. I accidentally got the wrong Crescent City book. I accidentally got House of Flame and Shadow, which I didn't read last year. Obviously, it came out last month. The longest book I read last year was a reread, and it was House of Sky and Breath, and I was rereading it so I could remember what happened, so I would be prepared for House of Flame and Shadow. And I read this the first time when I was sick last year during the summer, and I didn't remember anything that happened in it. I had COVID, and I think I was just reading words, and I knew that the ending shook me, and I knew it was crazy. I was like, I need to reread this so I can remember, so I can be ready. And I actually listened to it on audio because this is a thick book, and I was like, I don't think I could sit there and make myself actually read this again, so I listened to it on audio while I was working. And let me tell you, that ending, I can't believe I forgot that. So good. I feel like I'm not going to say anything about how I feel about it going into the third one. But anyway, this is technically the longest one I read, and it was 805 pages. But if I'm not counting, because that's a reread, I don't know if I should count that. So technically, like a new one that I read was Iron Flame, and it's 623 pages, I think. Yeah. So this is technically the longest book I read. And I actually reread it. I read it twice. Like at the beginning, like right when it came out, and then at the end of the month of it coming out, I read it again because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I feel like a lot of people were disappointed with Iron Flame, but I don't know. I feel like I'm a simple girl, and I get the complaints. I really do. But I was still enjoying it. I was just happy to have this in my hands and to continue the story. Again, she gets you in the ending. It was slow, but like, if I can reread a book, that means I did like it and enjoy it. Because if I don't like it, or, you know, enjoy it as much, then I'm not going to want to reread it, you know? And the fact that I could reread this says a lot about how much I liked it. But I really do, I actually want to reread Fourth Wing too. And like, re-annotate it and add more tabs, because that's what I did with this one. Maybe I'll like reread the series before the third one comes out, hopefully soon. There's no release date. It's not even, is it confirmed? I don't even know, but that's what I need to know. And then I'll go into the shortest book I read this year, which was 12 by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's just a little novella. It's 128 pages. But I think this is where the next clip starts. So I might have already said this, so I'm just gonna move to that clip. Ready? But this, I mean, it's the novella that takes place after the fourth book in the Natural series, which is also a great series I discovered by Jennifer Lynn Barnes in 2023. And it's at the end of this book, so it's not a separate physical book. It's at the end of this one, and it's 128 pages. Okay. Favorite covers of the year, hands down. Magnolia Parks. All the covers are beautiful. I was kind of sad when I saw they were redoing them, but you can still get these. I ordered mine off Blackwell's. And I'm currently waiting for Into the Dark to arrive. I already read it because I got the new covers, but these covers are just amazing. I've never seen anything like them. I think they're perfect. Next, a book I haven't stopped thinking about, obviously Divine Rivals. I think about all the time just because I love Iris and Kay. I just love the story. And Fourth Wing. But a book that's not those is The Unmaking of Gian Farrow by Adrienne Young. I did not know this book was going to be what it was, and I was so shook reading this. I think I read it in one sitting. I loved it. It's kind of got that, it's not time travel, but it's kind of got that time jumping concept in like so many pieces, and they have to fit together, and I was like figuring out all this stuff, and I was like, whoa, wait, what? I think it's amazing. I need to reread it. And I also really like her writing. I have another book. I have 2 other books by her actually that I'm like, okay, a new favorite author. Okay. My cringiest reads of the year, Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. I was so disappointed by this book because if you know Sally Thorne, she wrote The Hating Game, which I you know, it was an okay book. I enjoyed it. But this book, I was like, Sally Thorne did not write this. This is the worst book I think I've ever read in my entire life. The main character has no personality. And what they do say of her personality, everybody just calls her an old woman. She works in a retirement home, but she's like in her 20s. And I was like, I don't even like the main character. If I can't like the main character, I'm not going to enjoy the book. Then the other one I read was Kiss Her Once For Me. It's a Christmas holiday book. And I was just, the entire time I was reading this, I was just like, some of the things that the people did, I literally cringed. And like, I was like, saying like, it out loud to my boyfriend. He was like, ugh. It was just cringe. That's all I have to say. An unpopular book that I love. I don't really know how unpopular this is, but I feel like the people that I have seen read this didn't like it. It's A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I actually really like this. It's a folk fantasy, which, again, I don't usually read those type of books. But I did enjoy it. It was kind of slow, but I don't know. I just enjoyed the vibes of it, I think. And I feel like some people, it can be boring. But I actually really liked it. I'm going to show you. This book was printed, the spine was printed upside down. You know, like how it's supposed to be like this. But it's actually upside down, which I thought was cool. Yeah, got a little mistake. Next, my lowest rated and highest rated on Goodreads, and if I agree. I didn't get them for some reason. Here it is. Diary of an Oxygen Thief is my lowest rated on Goodreads, and it has an average of 2.74, which I agree with that. I don't really get the point of this book. This person's obviously got problems. I feel like it's unnecessary. It's anonymous. I'm like, okay. I don't get the point of that book. My highest rated is A Court of Mist and Fury, which I didn't get down, but, you know, it's the second book in the ACOTAR series. I gave it 5 stars. I agree that, you know, 4.6 average rating. I think that's pretty good. My favorite book quotes of the year, I don't have anything else specifically, but it's got to be from 7 Year Slip, Divine Rivals. Let's see. Let me flip through and find some. Let's see. Well, I guess in this one, I just like when he calls her Lemon. That's just amazing. You know. But Divine Rivals probably has some good ones in here. Oh, my favorite quote, I think, from Divine Rivals is when Roman asks Addie and Iris what's a synonym for sublime. And they're like, you know, thinking of some. Addie says transcendent. And Iris says, I personally like divine. And you're like, okay, Divine Rivals. And then he writes that letter and she figures out that he is Carver that she's been writing to. I just think it's amazing. Let's see. I also like the one about the armor. And this is that letter where she finds out that it's him. Where she says, a transcendent connection, a divine threshold. I love you, Iris. Do you see me? This book kills me. I broke my engagement, quit my job, and traveled 600 kilometers into war-torn land to be with you, Iris. Obviously, I'm in love with you. Okay, then he says this. But the moment you walked away, I knew I felt something for you, which I had been denying for weeks. The moment you wrote me and said you were 600 kilometers away from Oath, I thought my heart had stopped. To know that you would still want to write to me, but also that you were so far away. And as our letters progressed, I finally acknowledged that I was in love with you and I wanted you to know who I was. That's when I decided I would follow you. I didn't want the life my father had planned for me, a life where I could never be with you. section where he keeps her letters by his nightstand and reads them, and then she finally, when she gets home and she sees the letter that he wrote to her before she went to war, but she didn't pick it up, and it's a note. It's where he tells her that who he is, and he says, Iris, it's me, Kit. Does that not just break your heart? I can't. Okay. But with the most unique concept you read, and I guess I'm gonna say a 7-year slip again. It's where this girl inherits her aunt's apartment after she passes away. Stop. And this, it's kind of like it's got magical realism in it. So the apartment can take you 7 years in the past or in the future, I think. And so that's how she meets this guy. But so when she leaves the apartment, she's back, in the present time. And she runs into him, this guy that she's seeing 7 years in the past in her apartment. And she doesn't realize that it's him, and he's like, but he already knows her because he already lived through that 7 years ago. Isn't that crazy? And all the connections, like, it's also a beautiful book. I love it. And the last couple questions are about your reading goal reflection and 2024 reading goal. So last year, I set my goal to 50 books because the year before I only read 41. And I was like really slacking. I was like, maybe I just won't read that much this year. But I actually read 147, so that was pretty good. So I set my goal to be 150 this year, and I've already read 30. Hang on, let's see. I think I've read 33, 32. I've read 32 books this year out of 150, and then. The last question is, what will you prioritize in your 2024 reading year? So I do want to do more rereads, which I don't know if it's a priority, but I do want to reread some more of my favorites. Like I want to reread Throne of Glass for sure. I read The Assassin's Blade. Okay, my camera cut off before the end of this video, but I was saying that I want to read Throne of Glass. Reread Throne of Glass this year. Like focusing on rereading some of my favorites just because I miss Throne of Glass. It's so good. But I also don't want it to take up most of my time, reading new books. But I did reread Assassin's Blade earlier this month, and I'm really excited to keep going. But also, I think I was talking about my goals. So that was one of them. And also normalizing DNFing a book that I just don't like or I'm not enjoying. I don't want to waste my time on a book that I'm not liking. So that's what I want to focus on. And then I think that was all. Those are all the questions for the end of the year tag. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to. And hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!